Vanakkam to all. The contribution of the Sthapathis to the enrichment of the Indian art and architecture is invaluable and unparalleled. Many great visionaries, Maharishis and Yoga Purushas had been the driving force of the development that took in Indian art. I take this opportunity to thank architect Srimati Sashikala Anand and her beautiful team from Ritambhara to invite me to present a talk about Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi life history. That too specially the facts that were not made known to the public. So I am very happy to share whatever we have learnt from Sthapathi, our revered guru, and my Mamaji, and the doyen Silpacharya of the Bharata Nadu. Padma Bhushan Dr. V. Ganapathy Sthapathi, he is a Vishwakarma by birth, and he was one among the great visionaries of 20th century who reinstated the past glory of Vastu Shilpa tradition. On this special occasion of Vishwakarma Jayanti Day, I want to share a handful of important and unknown features in Sthapathi's life. As I said, which were not made known to most of us. So let's see the life history and the background of Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama. Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi, he was born in Pillayarpatti in the year 1927. Pillayarpatti is a small village around 10 km from Karaikudi region, and it is a beautiful village where there is a huge temple complex for Karpaga Vinayagar. And Ganapathy Sthapathi's father was engaged, commissioned to carve and assemble the stone kalharam on the stories of the Rajagopuram in lime mortar. And Sthapathi was born during that project, and he was named after Pillayarpatti Vinayagar Ganapathy. His father was a renowned Silpacharya of Tamil Nadu, and he is called Sri Shilpakala Shagaram Sri M. Vaidyanatha Sthapathi. And his mother, Srimati Velammal, she was a humble and graceful woman who took care of the household things. Sthapathi was the second child in the family, and his siblings, like he had two sisters and two brothers. Sri Ramachandra Sthapathi, the older brother, and the younger brother is Sri Janaki Ramana Sthapathi. So Sthapathi's ancestors, they were scientists of yore, and they designed and built several temples in and around Tamil Nadu and also outside India, based on the grammar of Vastu Shilpa Shastra. So belonging to a rich family legacy, Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi always admired one of his forefathers. You know who? That was none other than Veera Chola Gunjaramalla Raja Raja Perundachan, the principal designer and builder of the great Tanjai Peruvadayar Koil, the big temple of Tanjore, the Brihadishwara temple. This temple was built in the 10th century by the Chola dynasty, and it has been recognized as a World Heritage by UNESCO. So since designing and building this big temple, it brought name and fame to the family. You know how? This family, this lineage is addressed as Tanjavurar. They gained this name by designing and building the great big temple of Tanjore. So Tanjorite. So this family, even till now, they are addressed as Tanjorite family, Tanjavurar. And this remains an everlasting identification for this family and this family lineage. And Sthapathi's ancestors, they were under the royal patronage up to the 18th century, and after that the family was supported by the Nagarattar community of Chettinad. Before that, they were also patronized by the Marudu brothers, Chinna Marudu, Periya Marudu brothers, the chieftain of Shivagangai district. And later on, Ganapathy Sthapathi's great grandfather, Shilpakala Nidhi Periyanayagam Sthapathi and his brother, they built famous Kalayar temple in Sivagangai district. And they were patronized by Mardu brothers, and later on this art and architecture were patronized by the Nagarathas community from Chettinadu, and other business communities also participated and patronized in preserving this art and architecture of Tamil Nadu. So in this way, this art was continued by the great Shilpi Rishis and Shilpis of 18th and 19th centuries. So Sthapathi's forefathers continued designing and building many magnificent temples like the Ainutrishwara temple at Mathur, Pilayarpatti temple near Karaikudi, and Sangameshwara temple in Salem, and they also designed, configured the space and designed the entire complex of Ramanashramam for Sri Ramana Maharishi when he was alive. And Ganapathy Sthapathi's father, Sri Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, was a close associate of Sri Ramana Maharishi. During the lifetime of Ramana Maharishi, Vaidyanatha Sthapathi had a chance to carve life-size statue of Sri Ramana Maharishi, that too in green stone, and that was great opportunity for Vaidyanatha Sthapathi to carve the statue during lifetime of Ramana Maharishi, who appreciated and accepted that Ramana has come in the statue. So like this. And also his ancestors, his father, his grandfather, they have also built temples, community centers outside India. Let's say like after the migration of the art and architecture towards the eastern lands outside India, Ganapathy Sthapathi's grandfather went to Sri Lanka, where he stayed for about 30 years. He built the great famous temple in Kochikade, Colombo, Sri Ponnambala Vaneshwarar temple. And his father, Sri Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, travelled to Mannar, South Mannar, where he built Tirukkedishwaramudayar temple and Tirukoneshwaram temple. These temples are the famous Shiva temple in Sri Lanka. They call that Panja Shivasthalangal. So they had the opportunity to build these temples, and even the Koneshwaram temple at Trikonamalai and Sri Selva Vinayakar temple at Kandi, those were a few to list. So Sthapathi's father, Shilpakala Shagaram Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, he was a versatile scholar with outstanding knowledge in Chaturveda, Vedanga, Upanishads, Granthalipi, Sanskritam, and astrology, astronomy, Vastu Shilpa Shastra, mathematics, Malayalam and other language. He was a true versatile scholar. He designed and executed the famous Gandhi Memorial Mandapam in Gindi under the instructions of Rajaji Ayya, the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. Sri Vaidyanatha Sthapathi was also an associate Sthapathi in the project of Thiruvannaikaval Shivan temple. It is one of the famous Panchabhuta Sthalas near Trichy, Thiruvannaikaval. And in this way, this family was gaining fame, name. Amazing to know that Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, he was the first recipient of National Award for Craftsman by the central government in the year 1963. Of course, this was a post-Mathews award that was received by Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi and his mother Sri Neela Mal. And now let's go to Ganapathy Sthapathi's life. We have seen the past, his ancestors. Ganapathy Sthapathi, at his young age, he was brought up in a traditional home environment. That is, that environment is filled with sound of chisel and hammer. So always 24/7 he hears the chiseling sound, that sweet sound, I would say. So by he was unknowingly exposed to the sculptural works that was carried out in patterai at the backyard of their house. There was a big patterai where stoneworks, stone carvings, sculptural carvings were going on. So that was the workshop. So from very young age, he is used to and he is fascinated by those rough stones taking into beautiful shapes, which mesmerizes. He developed a kind of passion along with that patterai sound, the way the father is carrying out the works. This is how he used to tell us. And he admires his father, the way he does the marking on the stone. He instructs the Shilpis. He used to watch all those things. He watches that the instructions given, and along with his father, he used to watch his Periyappa, because Ganapathy Sthapathi's family was an expanded family, all of them living together in one house and working together, and it was a crowded atmosphere. And he used to watch his Periyappa, who later was his guru, and he was trained by his guru. First guru is his father, Sri Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, and his second guru is Sri Chellakana Sthapathi, Shilpakalanidhi Chellakana Sthapathi, his Periyappa, his paternal uncle. Like I said, he used to watch very closely how they shape the stone, the boulders, how they shape, how they do the marking, how unwanted stones are removed, and final product becomes very a stone marvel, I would say. So like this traditional feel, like Ganapathy Sthapathi used to watch his father, grandfather and Periyappa. So the traditional feel goes like this, that it is transferred from father to son, and then son to his son. This is how this profession is handed over. So like this, Ganapathy Sthapathi was initiated into the sacred field while he was in school days through his Periyappa and father. And later, after completing his high school, Ganapathy Sthapathi was unable to do a graduation study in engineering. That was his wish, but due to lack of financial support, Sthapathi was unable to continue. The amount was 480 rupees, the fees for him to do engineering course, and the family was unable to afford. So he had to go for arts college, where he did his BA mathematics. And you know who supported him for his studies? That was Sri Ramana Maharishi. He supported him to join in Dr. Alagappa University, which was newly started in Karaikudi during that period. So he joined and he did BA Mathematics, and he had Sanskrit as elective subject. Ganapathy Sthapathi was enrolled as a first student in that newly established college because his name was Ganapathy. So the Chettiar was insisting that the first student ever should be having a name of Vinayaka. Here our Ganapathy went there and he joined that college, and now it is a very famous college in Karaikudi. Maybe because Ganapathy joined there first, I don't know. So this is how Ganapathy Sthapathi did his BA Mathematics. He came in first class, but his Sanskrit was second class. But later in his profession, he was commanding the language Sanskrit. So in the year like 1957, Ganapathy Sthapathi, he started his career as a Sthapathi. Till then, after his college, till 1957, he was working as a professor, lecturer in some schools near Thiruvannamalai, Salem, Karaikudi. Then the time was insisting that he has to go to his Kula Tolil, that is his family profession, that is Sthapatya profession. So in 1957, he decided and he joined Palani Devasthanam along under his Periyappa, because his Periyappa Sri Chellakana Sthapathi was the superintendent Sthapathi of Palani Devasthanam, and he joined under his Periyappa as assistant Sthapathi in Palani Devasthanam. So he wrote to his father, who was in Thiruvannamalai. He said, "Appa, நான் இந்த தொழிலுக்கு வந்துட்டேன்னா ஸ்தபதியாக ஜாயின் பண்ணியிருக்கேன் பெரியப்பாக்கு கீழே. தட் இஸ் வாட் ஹி wrote to his father. So immediately the father was happy and he sent a telegram to him. You know, in those days, no phones, whatever technology we have, they did not have that facility. So immediately he sent a telegram stating that சிற்பக்கலையில் நீ செய்த பிரவேசம் அதற்கு மாபெரும் அதிர்ஷ்டமாகும். How beautifully he said that Shilpakala field has been blessed by your entry into its fold. So Ganapathy Sthapathi took this to be a Mahavakyam for him as a guiding force throughout his life in this profession, Sthapatya profession. So Sthapathi always, he deeply valued his father as a powerful driving force and mentor for him in this field. And he admired his father's expertise and skills enormously, that he followed his father's footsteps to acquire all this knowledge of Veda, Vastu Shilpa Shastram, astronomy, no astrology. Sthapathi did not go for astrology, but he did astronomy and Shilpa Shastras, Upanishads, and all Shastras that were related to Vastu Shilpa Shastram. And he became a genius, even more than his father, I would say. And during the colonial rule, many branches of art and architecture was in a state of extinction. So post-independence, our Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru ji, he appointed Srimati Kamala Devi Chattopadhyaya, the chairman of the first chairman of the Crafts Council of India, to resurrect the art tradition that was at the verge of extinction. So Srimati Kamala Devi, she traveled the length and breadth of the country, and she identified the required persons to resurrect this the extincting art and architecture. So when she came to Tamil Nadu, she met Sri Mahaperiyava, Sri Chandrasekhara Swamigal, and Rajaji Ayya, the then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. They discussed and they appointed Sri Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, father of Ganapathy Sthapathi, to establish a Padashala in Gurukula style at Mahabalipuram. This is to bring out students, train students to preserve and to conserve the extincting architectural edifices, sculptural edifices. So what happened, he established with the support of Tamil Nadu government near Mahabalipuram, and that was with few students, and he prepared the syllabus. You know how Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, he is very good in all knowledge except English. So he always approached his son, Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi, to help him to form the syllabus and to communicate with the government, central government or the Tamil Nadu government. So that was Ganapathy Sthapathi's role, along with his father, to support him whenever required in this process of establishing the Institute of Temple Architecture and Sculpture. So finally, this was ceremoniously initiated, and students started coming to this institution. Vaidyanatha Sthapathi was overwhelmed to prepare all this syllabus and to establish this institution, irrespective of caste and creed, because they wanted the youngsters to preserve our art culture, our traditional art and architecture. Ganapathy Sthapathi was fully involved in the making of this institution, I would say. Today, this institution is recognized as Government College of Temple Architecture and Sculpture, situated at Mahabalipuram and affiliated to the Madras University. So this is a proud moment to share this hardship that was taken by Sri Vaidyanatha Sthapathi and Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama. And then the syllabus, when Ganapathy Sthapathi was preparing the syllabus, along with his father, they had a discussion and they made a decision that this institution, this Padashala, is to prepare the students with traditional knowledge. So they need to have the knowledge of the Shastras. So they followed the Shastras. Like in Vastu Shilpa tradition, we have got treatises, more than 100 treatises, but the ones that available in the market are segregated like original text, secondary text and regional works. In this way, Ganapathy Sthapathi, based on those treatises, he planned to take Mayamatam, Manasaram, Marichi Samhite and so on. Texts were used for syllabus, and these students were given training in sculpture drawing and architectural drawing based on Shilpa grammar. So we can deal that in some other talks. So now Ganapathy Sthapathi was a fully fledged person in preparation of this syllabus. So after the lifetime of Vaidyanatha Sthapathi, Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi was interviewed by the government, Tamil Nadu government, along with other candidates, and he was selected as the next person to take up the Government College of Temple Architecture and Sculpture. So the process was done as per government norms, and he was appointed as the superintendent of that institutions, and later on he was promoted as principal and the college was affiliated to the Madras University. So this was a beautiful thing that Ganapathy Sthapathi has left for the future generations. The remarkable output of this institution is many students are completed successfully their diploma and their undergraduation, and they are all going out of the country to propagate this traditional knowledge through their projects, what they are doing, like temple projects, sculptures and so on. And another marvelous thing is these students are specialized not only in preparing the temple drawings or making the sculptures. They have got 5 departments, like they can get specialization in wood, timber architecture, metal architecture, Sudai architecture, fine arts and stone architecture. Like this they have got today, currently they have got many other departments too related to art and architecture. So this is an enhancement, I would say, in the field of traditional art and architecture. So today the Government College of Architecture and Sculpture, unique of its kind in the whole Asia. Let me tell you, we don't have a college similar to Government College of Architecture and Sculpture other than Mahabalipuram. So this itself is supporting a fact for the Shilpa tradition. After the traditional practitioners, now we have institutionally trained Sthapatis and Shilpis. So these Sthapatis and Shilpis, institutionally trained Sthapatis and Shilpis, were trained by traditionally trained Shilpis. There is a difference. So Ganapathy Sthapathi made it because Ganapathy Sthapathi did not go to any institution to study this ancient architecture and sculpture. He learnt it from his father. So this is like transferring from guru to shishya or father to son, like this. So all the traditionally trained teachers taught the students in the college, and now they are institutionally trained. So this is also another welcoming feature for the Shilpa tradition. And not only that, this institution has produced several notably graduates who are all spread all over India and outside India to preserve the science and technology behind this traditional architecture and sculpture through their projects. So gradually Ganapathy Sthapathi was reinstating the sagging tradition of Vastu tradition that was aimed by Jawaharlal Nehruji and Kamala Devi Chattopadhyaya. So Vaidyanatha Sthapathi transferred that knowledge to Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama, who reinstated things in its own position. Ganapathy Sthapathi, other than his activities to promote the tradition of Shilpa, he also wrote many books on various aspects of Vastu Shilpa tradition, and one among the book is Vishwakarma. He published it in 1999, where he elaborately explains about the Vishwakarma tradition, and that was well received by all the scholars across the world. And Sthapathi, he looks at the temple form and he explains through all his research works that temple form is not home of God, but it is form of God. So he has got certain slokas for that from Agamas and Shilpa Shastras, and one is Prasadam Purusham Matva Pujayet Mantra Vittamaha. So which means Ganapathy Sthapathi wants to say that when a priest looks at a temple which is built in accordance to the Shilpa principles and proportions to the grammar laid in Shilpa tradition, the priest automatically has to chant his mantras, since that temple form automatically reveals the vibration, because it's a Purusha form. So this is also to be dealt in some other talks. It's a science behind the Vastu Shilpa tradition. So as mentioned, above all the ancient structures designed to the governing rules of Vastu Shilpa Shastra, they are the repository of spiritual energies. So when we say spiritual energy, the traditional architectural terminology related to these structures like Vastu, Vastu Purusha Mandala, Vastu, and so on, So Ganapathy Sthapathi, he gives a beautiful definition and explains a lot through all his booklets, small booklets. And he says, this may sound mystical or ritual for those who listen this, who hears this for the first time. In general, the scholarly world looks at this as merely building codes or building norms, construction rules. No, it is not. Sthapathi recorded in his Sthapatya Veda, a book on building architecture. It's a Vastu Shilpa Shastra comprising the formulas and sutras of Vastu Shilpa Shastra. He explains that these Shastras are repleting with technological materials and measures based on a unique science of energy and matter, time and space and spatial forms, which are not made known to the public so far. So through his Sthapatya Veda book on building architecture, Sthapathi made a point that the principles, when adopted in building architecture, they surely will bring physical welfare and spiritual harmony. He made a point to reach this to the public through Sthapatya Veda. So some people ask, what is Vastu Purusha Mandala? So according to Dr. Sthapathi, it is the energy grid pattern, energy grid that produces energy. So this is a prescribed layout formed by the Shilpi Rishis in the arrangement of living spaces, whether it's a secular or non-secular buildings. This is defined for both Devalaya and Manushalaya Vastu. These explanation because of Sthapatya Veda, the book on building architecture, which each and every individual practicing architecture should possess with them. It's a must. And then based on Sthapathi's experience and Shastraical principles, Sthapathi, he published many books which explains so many things that is hidden in Vastu Shilpa Shastra, which is not revealed so far, the science part and the technology part. And among these books, Who Created God is a beautiful book, that, and another one, Temples of Space Science, which explains a lot about the untold facts of Vastu Shilpa Shastra. And also there is a book on Mayan land, Pranava Vedam. These are the masterpieces of Ganapathy Sthapathi's work. Sthapathi also established a research wing under the banner of Vastu Vedic Trust, and through this he has made many research works and published books. And through his seminars, lectures and forums, he transmitted the unrevealed, like again I tell you, the unrevealed aspects and the formulae of Vastu Shilpa Shastra. In other words, the science and technology that is lying in the Vastu Shilpa Shastra. So again, we would like to point out that till today, foreign scholars, research students are fascinated by this ancient tradition and its science and technology. They look at the temples, the huge skyscraping temples, monuments, community halls, sculptures, and they are amazed and fascinated and wanted to learn how to replicate it. And that is not possible unless you have a guru. A guru like Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama, a guru like Dr. Architect Sashikala Anand, and a guru like Sri Ramamurthy uncle, who is no more with us now. And these are the gurus who can guide you to reach your goal in constructing a temple according to Shastraical principles. So, Dr. Sthapathi, he travelled extensively in India and outside India, and he travelled to spread this knowledge, of course. And when the foreigners come to him, they approach him in search of this knowledge, in search of the wisdom. He took them as his students, as his disciples, and he taught them very openly. There is no hide and seek. Padma Bhushan, Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama, he had a collection of Mayan Padalgal. So who is this Mayan? He is the father of Mandodari in Ramayanam, we all know, and even in Mahabharatam Sabha Parva, he is identified as Mahatejasvi. Maya Namaha, like this. So many verses are indicating about Mayan. So this Mayan Rishi, he lived in the lost continent of Kumarikantam, that is Lemuria continent. So he has extensively researched about the Vastu Shilpa tradition, the science and technology behind the Vastu Shilpa tradition, and he has recorded through palm leaf manuscripts. So Sthapathi Mama had some good collection of these works, and he had compiled it. And these treatises, he has segregated into treatises, around more than 1,000 treatises, I would say. So these treatises are like Aindaram, Pranava Vedam, Vaishampayanam, Sirpama Chennul, Oviyakalai Chennul, Perunada Chennul, Kattida Chennul, Talama Chennul. Like this, the list keeps on going. So among these treatises, Ganapathy Sthapathi, he compiled Aindaram, and it was published by the government of Tamil Nadu. The government supported it, but still there were so many controversial issues. But then Sthapathi had to convince and explain that Aindaram contains the ancient sutras depicting the signs of energy and matter, light and sound, time and space and spiritual forms or spatial forms. Books were published by the Tamil Nadu government and was accepted by the scholarly world. And later on, this book was published by the Tamil Nadu government and released by the then Chief Minister Dr. M.G. Ramachandran Avargal. The two in World Tamil Conference held at Madurai in 1986. And this was a great moment for Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi, since he achieved 5% of what he wanted, that is the Mayan Padalgal, the unrevealing of the secrets of Vastu Shilpa tradition. And this was a great opportunity for Sthapathi to continue compiling the other Mayan Padalgal, the other treatises. And he took the second treatises, Pranava Vedam, where it talks completely about the consciousness, about the spirit, about the anukal, atomic particles. It talks about Vinkaru, as we say in Tamil, the space fetus. So these are the highly refined technical Tamil where all these are explained, and these were welcomed by the rishis, scholars and sadhus of our time. And Sthapathi also traveled extensively. Like I said, he traveled to the Mesoamerican land where he wanted to visit the Mayan pyramids. He believes that according to Mayanic science and technology, the Indian Mayan and the Mesoamerican Mayan, that is the Mexican Mayan, are related in a way or the other. And this he has exposed and explained in detail in one of his research books called Mayan Land. So we can go through in that book. And his travel to Mexican land was sponsored by the Saiva Siddhanta Adinam of Hawaii Island. Sthapathi always believed that female Shilpis had lived in the past. So one of his senior archaeologists, Sri Nadana Kasinathan Ayya, mentioned in his research work that female Shilpis existed in the 2nd century, and that was seen engraved in one of the ancient temples in Kerala near Trivandrum. So that is the evidence for us that Shilpis, female Shilpis existed. And that is also a welcoming thing, because today in the Government College of Architecture and Sculpture in Mahabalipuram, we have many ladies learning temple architecture and sculpture apart from fine arts. So that is another welcoming thing for this tradition. Shilpa tradition, that is Vastu science and technology, is a vast ocean. So to reach out to the scholars at a quick pace, Sthapathi conducted 2 international seminars, Global Meet. These seminars on Mayanic science and technology. So one he conducted at Chennai, the other one Trivandrum. And this conducting seminar was to re-establish that India had a unique science and technology of its own in the past, and that this science belongs to one of the living tradition of India called Vastu Marabu. And the core concept was the science of the subtle energy turning into gross or into embodied energy. This was the core concept. So in a nutshell, he states that it is time, Kala Brahman, the absolute time, that derives the manifestation of subtle energy, Parabrahman. Based on Maya Sutras, Sthapathi confirms this statement as Kalame Akum, Kalame Kakum, Kalame Tudaikum, Kalame Evikum Moolam, Kalame Moola Atral. This is how he interprets from Mayan Padalgal, from Mayan treatises. So this meaning is that Brahma Rishi Mayan realized that the time creates, sustains and dissolves everything that is created. So Sthapathi further recorded that the scientific phenomenon of energy and matter are fused in Akasham, space, and its manifestational process. Coming to the other side, Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama, he revived the concept of Shiva Vishnu temple under one roof. This remained always a controversial issue before 1990. Not after 1990, because before 1990 there were so many controversial issues of Shiva Vishnu temple making under one roof. But Sthapathi convinced the scholarly world, and he transformed this belief system and he made so many projects called Shiva Vishnu Temple for the Indian community living outside India. And the example that he quoted was the Shiva Vishnu Temple starts from Pallava period. Like you see the shore temple where Shivalingam and the reclining Vishnu, it is a Shiva Vishnu temple. And you can take Chidambaram Nadaraja temple where you can see Govindaraja, the reclining Vishnu. That is another Shiva Vishnu temple. And you have got Tirunelveli, Nellayappa Swami temple where Shiva and Vishnu are neighbors. That is under one roof. It is flanked next to each other. So it is another Shiva Vishnu temple. So even if you go to Karnataka, Hirenagaluru, you have got a Shiva Vishnu temple there. You go to Andhra. So everywhere we have Shiva Vishnu temple, and we can have newly built Shiva Vishnu temple under one roof, but with the condition you have a separate Shiva Vastu and Vishnu Vastu. And that is how Sthapathi designed and succeeded in convincing the scholars and Indian community living outside India. So I would say this was believed to be a revolution in the Devalaya Vastu. The revolution brought by NRIs living in the USA, Europe and other countries outside India, and now they are happy to locate Shiva and Vishnu under one roof. So with their respective parivaras, of course. And now the present generation, they would ask me, okay, Ganapathy Sthapathi has done so many things like this. What he has left for us? He has written so many books. But what about practicing Shilpis, practicing architects, practicing students and others? What do we have? I would say you are all very much blessed. You are all very much gifted, because Sthapathi wrote a Tamil text called Sirpa Chennol. And this is a beautiful compilation work by Padma Bhushan, Kalaimamani, Dr. V. Ganapathy Sthapathi, expounding elaborately the precise grammar and technique involved in the fashioning of images for worship. And this book was published by the government of Tamil Nadu, and a wonderful treatise that explains everything that is required for a student. The English rendition was titled as The Indian Sculpture and Iconography, Forms and Measures by Srimati Architect Sashikala Anand, the prime disciple of Dr. V. Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama. And this book is spreading the knowledge of the practice of sculpture and iconography. This book is lying in each and every student of architecture, not only traditional but modern architecture. Even B.Arch students are having this book. I was surprised to see this, but I'm very happy to share this, that the book titled in English is helping non-Tamils, and the Sirpa Chennol is very much helpful to the Shilpis, the Sthapathis and the students of architecture in Mahabalipuram. And then Ganapathy Sthapathi, along with Srimati Architect Sashikala Anand, made a documentary that was in 1991, and that documentary was titled as Vastu Marabu, the living tradition where a Shilpi speaks. And Ganapathy Sthapathi was the anchor, and it was directed by Sri Bala Kailasam and produced by Rasam, the Research Academy for Science and Art, Mahamalapuram. And this research and script was prepared by Srimati Architect Sashikala Anand. And you know, this film was appreciated, well received, and it won the President's Award for the best documentary in the year 1992. So again, another milestone for Vastu Shilpa tradition. Now let's see the landmark novel creations by Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama. Merely building of secular or religious structures is not suffice for a practicing Sthapathi. That is what Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama used to say. More than that, they have to create. He says that Sthapathi or the Shilpi needs more challenging Shilpa creations to exhibit his whole skills. In this way, he can propagate the science and technology lying in this tradition. But we have to get the patrons to sponsor the project, like these challenging projects. So one among them was the then Chief Minister, late Dr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi Avargal. He gave many opportunity to Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama, where he exhibited rare kind of projects. So, like he transformed the Tamil epics. Dr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi wanted to transform the Tamil epics with architecturally fashioned sculptures. So these kind of creativities would be an everlasting record and visually fascinating for people to know more about the epics. That was the confidence in Dr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi, and he gave this task to Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi. Of course, this was a challenging task. Projects like Valluvar Kotam, the stone-built temple car for Saint Valluvar, and Boombuhar Kalaikudam. Boombuhar Kalaikudam is a beautiful novel creation by Dr. Kalaignar and Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi, who designed according to the expectation of Dr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi. So that Silapadikaram art gallery, it is a 7-storied classically built form in accordance to the Shilapadikaram, the anklet, jeweled anklet epic, and this was designed and completed along with few sculptures. So near that Silapadikara Kalaikudam, we would say even Boombuhar Kalaikudam, there were many artifacts present, and that too it comprises scenes from Shilapadikaram, and this was designed by Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama with approval of Dr. Kalaignar Karunanidhi. These sculptural narrations were carved by the students of Government College of Architecture and Sculpture under the training. So these students were under the training and they sculpted all these Boombuhar Kalaikudam sculptures narrating Silapadikaram, and also the traditionally trained sculptors were also participating in these projects. So the main attracting feature of Boombuhar Kalaikudam is the statue of Madhavi, the dancing female, one of the main character of Silapadikaram. So even I would say one of the important character of Silapadikaram. So Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi had gone very extensive, he made very extensive research to fashion Madhavi statue, because Ilango Adigalar, he narrated, he described, he portrayed Madhavi as an utmost beautiful lady, a dancing lady. So Sthapathi had to make all research, and finally he sculpted the statue. Making very careful attention to her hairdress, vastram, ornaments, and her body features and other things, and he replicated the poetic verses, the poetic form of Madhavi into the visual form. So during the opening event of Kalaikudam, Boombuhar Kalaikudam, the art gallery, Dr. Kalaignar, he was very much fascinated to see the statue of Madhavi with her ravishing beauty, and the other side, the quiet and graceful heroine of the epic, Kannagi. Then he looked at Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi. Smilingly, he said, "Sthapathi, you know, Kovalan is justified." Why did he say? Please, all of you, go and Google the statues. You will understand why Dr. Kalaignar mentioned that Kovalan is justified. So there are so many other stone marvels created by Sthapathi at Boombuhar Kalaikudam, but due to lack of time, we will discuss this in some other occasion. So the next challenging project, I would say, the administrative block and the library building of Tamil University in Tanjavur. That was another beautiful project, which was handled very carefully and according to Shastraical principles. This was completed successfully. And then there is another mega sized project, I would say, a mammoth project, building a statue for the celebrated poet of India, Saint Thiruvalluvar, Ayyan Thiruvalluvar. I would say building a statue, not carving a statue, because that statue was measuring 133 feet high, and that was at Cape Comorin on a small mount in the middle of the sea. And Sthapathi, along with his technical scholars, he wanted his two daughters-in-law to explore this architecture followed in the making of Thiruvalluvar statue at site. So he took special permissions from the authorities, and he took the two daughters-in-law and went up to 110 feet up the statue, and he explained thoroughly about the Brahmarandram of that statue come building, and he explained other nuances, intricacies involved in the making of that particular Ayyan Valluvar statue. And this was the tallest structure in Tamil Nadu, made out of stone, and was unveiled in January 2000 in the millennium by the Honorable Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Kalaignar Avargal. And then Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi, he received many awards, many titles and credentials that embedded his crown, his Vastu crown, I would say. So he was a national awardee. He bagged so many titles, and finally he was recognized by the Indian community of Washington DC, and he was conferred the title of Vastu Vignani, Vastu Scientist. And Tamil Nadu government honored him with Kalaimamani, and our Indian government honored him with Padma Bhushan. So this was a pride thing for the family lineage. And Sthapathi, he enjoys his time whenever available with his grandchildren, and he used to take them to Valluvar Rock, Ramanashramam, Tanjore Big Temple, and Thiruvannamalai Big Temple. So many places he used to take his grandsons. That was a beautiful moment in his life. And there is another notable thing that we would like to share, that is Ganapathy Sthapathi built. He was the master builder to design and build the Kavai's Irevan temple, all in white granite stone. And this temple stones were carved with manual tools, chisel and hammer. No machine was used, and no any modern technology was used, because the Gurudeva, he wanted his temple to be carved using manual tools similar to Tanjore Big Temple, because the monk believed, Sri Gurudeva believed that by using manual tools, the sublime quality of the stones will be there, and it will last for 1,000 years. So in that way he wanted his temple to using manual tools to carve the temple, and Ganapathy Sthapathi accepted it, and he configured the plan, and the temple was completed. And the Gurudeva said, Shilpis in India, they have got a very beautiful background, a lineage, but it is not revealed anywhere. Maybe here and there in temple walls, inscriptions like that, Shilpi's background is made known. Their ancestors are made known. Even the designer and the builder of the temple is not known for many ancient temples in India, not only in Tamil Nadu, in entire India. So Gurudeva decided to make bronze statues of Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi and his team, and he exhibited it in the premises of the temple, so that all those visiting the temple will come to know the making of the temple. What was the reason, who was behind the temple designing, who constructed the temple and how they constructed it, and this will last long. So he believed that these bronze statues, the memorial, they call that builder's memorial in bronze. So this platform and the temple will exist for more than 1000 years to narrate the story of temple making to the future generation. Sthapathi had many foreign scholars. That is, he had many disciples and followers spreading his Mayonic Vastu science and technology. And as you see in the pictures, you can see all his disciples and his daughters-in-laws and his sons, his brothers' sons, Sri Selvanathan Sthapathi and Sri R. Shanmugavelan. And I'm his elder daughter-in-law, and the younger daughter-in-law is Gayatri Shanmugavelan, who was another close research associate with Dr. Ganapathy Sthapathi. And Srimati Dakshinavati Ammal, our auntie, she passed away last year. She was another driving force behind Mama to allow him carry out all the research activities, professional activities, whatever Mama wanted to do. So it was like that. And to conclude, I would like to say a note as told by Ganapathy Sthapathi Mama. I would like to read that to you. He used to say this in all his talks. So he says that the man who is Sthapathi does not matter. It is the strength of his roots are to be focused. The tradition has a power which beckons me, floods me, supplies me with multiplicity and efforts, tantalizing glimpses into the stuff of the universe. Hence, I am not tired or bored of this action of elevating the stream. And he added, saying in Tamil sometimes, that சிற்பியாய் பிறப்பதற்கு தெய்வ நல் அருளே வேண்டும். And he always wanted to reborn as a Shilpi in the same Tanjaurar family, Tangerite family. Thank you all for your kind attention.